West. These bring a risk of thunderstorms as well, particularly across more northwestern areas throughout much of Thursday, so quite an unsettled day. Drier though further south and eastern parts of Scotland. Northern Ireland seeing a fairly fine day, a risk of showers, but brighter than today at least. More in the way of cloud though for parts of Wales, central areas of England down to the southwest. It should break up as the day goes on, but there is a risk of a little bit of light rain throughout much of the day. It will just be sort of here and there. No widespread or persistent rain is expected across southern areas. And it will still feel quite warm, potentially a little bit muggy across the south and east. Temperatures in the high 20s, so cooler than today, but certainly still quite warm for the time of year, or any time of year in fact. Throughout Friday, we'll see plenty of dry weather around. We've got high pressure dominating, but that fresher air across the country with northwesterly winds that will be quite strong in the north, bringing more showers across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland, some areas of northern England. Further south, though, another dry day, and it remains pretty dry into the weekend as well. Sunny spells and temperatures in the low to mid-20s. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
We're celebrating a golden summer with a terrific two-part Great British giveaway. First, you could win a sensational £60,000 in tax-free cash. And that's not all, as you'll also win our most precious prize to date, a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Portillo. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you. Bulletins on GB News,
the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
The GB News audience is different, it's unique, because they see through the nonsense.
We want to debate with each other, we want to listen and maybe learn.
We have a chat, that's what we do, we try and have a chat.
They'll watch my programme while they're eating their tea, they'll watch breakfast while they're busy getting their kids ready for school.
We want to hear what matters to you, what is news for you.
And what's brought you out here today? What are the biggest issues affecting this particular area?
The audience are the best thing about GB News.
They're friends.
They're family. They're people who need to have their voices heard.
They're passionate about the channel, they're passionate about what they believe in.
The one thing about GB News is you get a chance to speak.
Talk to me about why so many people have gathered here today.
Do you want to say something back in return?
The GB News audience is what makes GB News special.
It's incredible to see.
They shape our programmes, they shape our output, and they shape our channel.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight.
Right now, you're under arrest under suspicion of possessing an offensive weapon. Okay.
A Sudanese illegal immigrant who failed to get asylum 3 times has been sentenced for walking into a school with a knife, a hammer, a hatchet and half a litre of petrol. Meanwhile...
Are you the people smuggler? Sorry, I didn't... Yeah? You're breaking the law, my friend. You're breaking the law.
Andy's Armada. Burnham's boats keep coming, but look at this from the French police.
When you stop them.
Our order
is
to let them go like that.
Yes, the French confirm they're under orders not to stop the boats. In other news, it's a huge victory for GB News in the fight against jihadi Islamist terror. Thanks to us highlighting his early release, the government have now stepped in to block this man's prison exit. I'll reveal the full story later on. Also tonight, a Norwegian man was paid by Iran to kill someone on British soil. An incredibly bizarre story. Plus...
Harry, how confident
Good morning, Harry. How are you?
Prince Harry could now be on the hook for £10 million in court costs after getting his rear end handed to him by the Daily Mail. And...
You won't apologise because you're blaming Nigel Farage for amplifying it.
I think we also need to talk about a double standard.
No.
Is it game over for Zach Polanski and the Greens? Plus...
Woman can have a penis.
Nick, I'm not... that trans women don't have ovaries, but a cervix, I understand, is something that you can have.
Well, I believe that trans women are women.
If you thought this was over for the Labour Party, it's not. Labour has got its knickers in a twist over what a woman is again. Unions are boycotting the party for banning blokes from its women's conference. On our panel tonight, we've got the director of the Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood. We've got the editorial director at Guido Fawkes, the wonderful Adam Cherry, and journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. And can you tell me what happens next here? Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Andy's Armada is on the way. Next.
Good evening. The top stories. Police will not investigate Zach Polanski after he was reported by Reform UK to the Metropolitan Police. The Green Party leader has been widely condemned and was reported to the police over a social media post appearing to threaten Nigel Farage's life. Mr Polanski has refused to issue an apology. The force said its investigation reached several conclusions. This included that it's unlikely the sharing of the image online would constitute a criminal offence. They added that Polanski's actions, including saying he did not see the image and unsharing it, also contributed to their decision. Mr Farage spoke today.
If people post on social media things that are racist or insightful, they nearly always get a knock at the door, charged, and that's right and proper. If we're going to have even, field on this, then Polanski, who is in a position of serious responsibility with a large number of followers, cannot put out on his social media the image that he did, my name, the guillotine, without some consequences. Now look, we all get things wrong in life. We all make mistakes in life. And what we do afterwards is we apologise. Given that he refuses to apologise, I expect the Metropolitan Police to act.
Andy Burnham has promised to put everything he's got into fixing adult social care as he puts the issue at the centre of his first days in Number 10. The Prime Minister says Westminster has ducked the crisis for decades, leaving families paying the price and the NHS under huge pressure. He's announced plans for a new national care service to sit alongside the NHS, with reforms to strengthen the care workforce through better pay and training. But when pressed on whether taxes would need to rise to pay for the reforms, Mr Burnham avoided giving a direct answer, leaving questions over how the plans will be funded. Speaking at a care home in London, Andy Burnham said Westminster has put point scoring before fixing a crisis affecting families, carers and the NHS.
It's a major dereliction of public duty that Parliament has not faced up to this, of all challenges, something so fundamental to life as this. It's shameful, to be honest, that politicians have put point scoring before fixing this issue, but that's what's happened.
And GB News can confirm that more than 700 illegal migrants have crossed the English Channel today. The migrants reached UK waters after people smugglers launched a wave of 11 migrant boats from a huge stretch of coastline. GB News can confirm boats were pushed out from beaches in Belgium down to the French port of Dieppe, around 130 miles further south. Those are the latest headlines for now. Back to Patrick.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Good evening. Andy's Armada is invading Britain as we speak. So far, 1,470 illegal migrants have crossed the Channel since Burnham became Prime Minister. But that could reach as high as 1,600 later tonight, as there are still illegal migrants currently attempting to cross the Channel. That's as we speak. Yesterday, GB News exclusively obtained footage of 25 illegals being brought to Britain by Border Force from a new route. They set off 70 miles further south in France than they usually do. There is now a new frontier in the migrant crisis. But look at this from today.
Are you the people smuggler? Sorry, I didn't mean to. Yeah? You're breaking the law, my friend. You're breaking the law.
At least 600 illegals set sail for Britain today. But this is the worst bit. Remember when Andy Burnham said this?
The Home Secretary has brought forward a very rigorous plan in relation to this, and let's remember, of course, the numbers can fluctuate, but overall boat crossings are down quite significantly year on year, so that does suggest that the plan is working.
Have a look at this. Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp confronts the French police, who are doing absolutely nothing to stop the invasion of Britain today. And listen very closely at what they have to say.
I'm député dans le Parlement du Royaume-Uni. Why have you allowed the migrants into the water? Why haven't you stopped them?
Our order
is
to let them go like that.
Your order is to let them go?
We just have to say to them, don't do that, it's dangerous.
So your orders are not to intervene?
We have to protect them.
There's also protecting the border as well.
I mean, there you go. They reveal that they're literally told not to stop them. They're ordered not to stop them, and their orders are to protect the illegal migrants who are invading Britain. It's ridiculous, isn't it? You have sent the French hundreds of millions of pounds, and that's what we're getting. But take a look at this clip and tell me what you see apart from the French police not doing anything.
So the migrants are attempting to push the boat off. The French gendarmerie are standing there doing literally nothing while the migrants push the boat off in knee-deep water because the French say it's unsafe to intervene because people might drown.
Yes, it's do-gooder, lovey Liberal women, female charity workers, standing on the shoreline and watching the fighting-age men invade Britain. Now, they appear to be from a group called Opal Exil. They are a local humanitarian group helping these illegals. Now, in my view, they are just as bad as the human traffickers. And we've got some more footage of them, thanks to videographer who is on the ground at the moment, who goes by the name Nowhere Photographer. And they will feed them, they will help them with clothes, they'll give them a little bit of water, but they do get very shirty when they're asked what they're doing.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, they don't like being filmed, do they? I wonder why. What I want to know is what these liberal women think when a small boat migrant rapes a woman or a girl in Britain. Do they ever stop and think, what have I done? Andy Burnham has some serious questions to answer. Why are the French being told not to intervene? What is he going to do about this new frontier and this new route that the illegals are using? Will he sanction some of these charity groups? But he's running scared of these questions. Our political editor, Christopher Hope, was going to ask him about exactly this today. And here's what happened.
Sam Coates, Sky News. I was hoping to get your instinct on a couple of areas of the social care debate. Do you think that you can only get funded care too high? And I hope people in the room don't think that this is crass, but it's a linked topic that is linked in the minds of the public.
Yet again, Andy Burnham just seems to ignore our political editor. Well, you can't run forever, Andy. Burnham's boats are coming. Andy's armada is on the way, and his plan, it seems, is to just move the lads into a house or an army barracks near you. Let's get thoughts on my panel this evening. We've got Director of Popular Conservatives Mark Littlewood, Editorial Director at Guido Fawkes Adam Cherry, and journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. So, Mark, I want to zone in a little bit on that revelation from the French police there, that they are under orders not to do anything and that they have to protect the migrants, which is in a very stark contrast from everything we're currently being told by this Labour government about Shabana Mahmood's deal.
Yes, and I don't think you can put it down to a mistranslation, right? I think Chris Philp was willing to speak to them in French, indeed. I mean, I'm wholly unsurprised. It's not obviously in the interests of the French to stop these people leaving their shores. They will fall back on absolutely every single bit of health and safety regulation they can. You know, oh my God, the water is more than ankle deep, someone might drown. So I think we need to get away from this idea that the solution to this is to patrol the borders. As you've already pointed out, Patrick, the frontier has moved. I think there's about 3,000 miles of French coastline. There's about 11,000 miles of coastline on the British mainland. We know the French, insofar as they're policing it at all, are policing it like that. What we've got to do is to change the law and change the pull factor. If that does not happen, none of this is going to change. There is going to be a continual movement of people into the UK in the hope that they hit pay dirt when they get here. And if that doesn't change, I don't think any amount of French border policing or border force at our end can alter it.
What do you make out of those charity workers, those kind of lovey-do-gooder women that are in the shoreline there, helping to feed and clothe these illegal migrant men and then push them over along the way there to Britain to do goodness knows what?
Yeah, I mean, there's a great phrase for this, isn't there? Suicidal empathy. We don't know who these men are. None of them look like they're young or, you know, particularly vulnerable women or children. They're all fighting-age men, aren't they? And we've seen plenty of footage like this. We see it every week. And like you said, I think they are no better than the smugglers themselves. Actually, Mark, I just want to pick up on something you said, which I agree with, you know, addressing the pull factors. And they've obviously got a new strategy now, these gangs, and we're seeing it in action. So although over the first few months of this year, the crossings are down compared to last year, just you wait. But now they've figured out this new routine. I almost guarantee you
the wave and wind direction has had a massive impact.
Yeah, and the weather as well. And, you know, we agreed finally with the French a few months ago that we would puncture or intercept what is now known as the water taxis, which is when the boats are already out in the sea and therefore they have no passengers. So the French will only intercept if there's nobody already on the boat. Well, that's great, but you see what they do now. They're forced the migrants themselves to drag it from the beach into the ocean directly. So that's a strategy.
And Andy Burnham, at the moment, is doing his level best to swerve any kind of questions on this whatsoever. Yeah. These boats are going to keep coming. We're in for a bumper week or couple of weeks. We already are. There's some currently in the Channel about to be brought into Dover. I just want to play this clip because I just found this absolutely staggering, and it's worth reminding yourself that these people walk amongst us.
Go down to the beach, welcome these people. They are the very definition of entrepreneurs. They have travelled, they've used up their life savings, they've travelled across deserts, difficult seas, they've beaten the odds. They are entrepreneurs. Meet them on the beach, give them a grant to set up in business. They will be successful business people within 10 years.
Just to remind you the story we're covering at 10 p.m, which is a failed Sudanese asylum seeker who went into a school with a knife, a hammer and half a litre of petrol. But Nina, what do you make of what we're seeing going on in the Channel today, and also comments like that?
Well, first of all, the numbers are 42% down from last year, so it's a very significant amount. So whatever Shabana Mahmood is doing, she's doing it very well. And as far as Andy Burnham's intention, the fact that he has retained her in her position against presumably a lot of the left-wing backbenchers who would want a softer approach means that he is taking it seriously. So you have to take that seriously. As far as I understand it about the French police, maybe being told not to do anything or let them go, they are not legally allowed to do anything in the water. They are not allowed to. Last summer, there was talk that the French were going to change the law, but in fact they didn't change the law. I don't know why they didn't, but they didn't.
Yeah. So, but they can do stuff on land, and you see a lot of the footage that we're seeing. And by the way, tomorrow I've got an interview with the bloke who's called the Nowhere photographer, who's out there at the moment providing a lot of this footage. And one of the things we are going to show is these migrants just hanging around on land with life jackets on, getting a bit of food and water, and the French police just there. So you know, they are not actually even stopping them when they're on land.
But they can't. Why?
Well,
they're not illegal.
They're in France.
They're not illegal.
Land.
Why? But why would they stop them?
Because they're...
No, because they haven't done anything wrong. The fact that they get into a boat,
right.
I mean, the fact that they're on land in France, they're allowed to be on...
the deal
No, they're allowed to be on land in France.
But the deal that we're supposed to have with France is that the French are supposed to then stop them.
What are we giving them money for?
No, but so who are the French going to stop? Somebody who looks like they're going to get into a boat, or somebody who gets into a boat?
Well, we know what they're doing. You know? I mean,
yes, but you
can't. Hello, are you from Sudan? And you can't.
We haven't got to the stage yet where we arrest people before they've done the crime. It's like what was that Tom
Well, you can't
Cruise
arrest
movie?
people on suspicion.
Minority Report. We're not quite at Minority Report
You
yet.
can't arrest people on suspicion.
Yep.
I'm now scratching my head. Nina, you've been a staunch defender of this £600 million deal with the French. I can't work out what we're getting for it. If I was running a swimming pool and was paying for a lifeguard, and the lifeguard then said to me, I'm terribly sorry, I can't get into the water if anything goes wrong, that lifeguard would be fired and I wouldn't be spending any more money on him. This is a completely ill-conceived way to begin to attempt to solve the problem.
Can I just ask about, because I know that you are in the weeds when it comes to politics at the moment. You're pounding the corridors of Westminster, Adam. What is Andy Burnham's actual plan here?
You could ask about almost anything, couldn't you? I mean, the reality is he didn't even mention the word immigration once for the first, 7 or 8 days. It was only yesterday, I think, or today, that footage you played earlier, that's the first time he mentioned immigration at all. So, yes, he's retained Shabana Mahmood, as you say, Nina, that's right. But I don't think he's particularly interested in grasping the nettle. He'll leave it to Shabana, and hopefully, hopefully she'll get away with it, and she can take all the political flack if it goes wrong.
OK.
I was going to say, you're talking about Christopher Chopper not being... I mean, he was right at the back. He needed a better seat, didn't he?
Well,
I mean, we all know that as journalists. You don't sit at the back. If you can get to the...
There's a precedent for this.
Come on.
I don't know if you can say this, Patrick, but I mean, I'm just a guest here, right? There are some particular senior cabinet ministers who are now back in positions they weren't necessarily in before, who have a very, very specific view of this channel. And it doesn't surprise me that's happening, because it happens multiple times You know, Chopper will tell you that himself. It didn't just happen with it didn't begin today.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
No, I'm not. Okay.
Your statistics tell a story.
All right, well, there we go. Right, the Home Office spokesperson has said, we are aware of posts circulating online that claim French law enforcement are failing to prevent small boat channel crossings. UK-French cooperation has already stopped 46,000 attempted crossings since the election. In May alone, 65% of all small boat events were stopped, despite soaring temperatures, which have historically led to increased crossings. But we know there is more to do. That is why the Home Secretary has signed a landmark new payment by results deal with France to boost enforcement action on beaches and put people smugglers behind bars. Now, you heard us mention the charity group there, Opal Exil. We reached out to them for comment, and what I wanted to know from them was a couple of specific things. How do they feel if any of the men that they help along their way go on to commit a heinous crime here in Britain? And do they feel as though that they are responsible and part of the human trafficking organisation? An Opal Exil spokesman said, "We do not wish to respond to newspapers or outlets that contribute to the spread of xenophobic ideas in Europe and in England. Thank you, and have a wonderful day." Brilliant. OK, let's actually cross now. Look, we've got a bit of something different for you. Let's cross line, breaking news stateside, to Bev Turner, who has just been in the Oval Office with President Trump. And there we go. You've been questioning, I believe you've been questioning, Bev, the president on Andy Burnham's plans for illegal immigration or something. Is that right? Go on, tell us.
So, in the White House this afternoon, in the Oval Office, President Trump was giving a presentation about the improvements they're making to the Dulles Airport here in Washington, D.C. Massive project, hundreds of billions of dollars are spending on it. And I actually got to say to him, I said, look, as a Brit, I'm watching this and I'm seeing you striving for excellence once again. It really strikes you, Patrick, when you're here, when you compare that with something like HS2. And so I said to him, you've had a couple of weeks to get to know our Prime Minister now. Is he the man that can take us to standards of excellence yet again? Here's what he said. Thank you. Bev Turner, GBNews. We've just heard you talking about another example of American excellence. That's really what this is. It's a project where you're striving to be the best in the world. As a Brit, that's really striking to me. You've had a couple of weeks to get to know our new Prime Minister. Have you spoken to him much? And do you think he is the man to lead us to excellence?
Well, he did say one very good thing. He said he's going to open up North Sea oil. If he does that, you're going to be a wealthy country. If he does it reasonably. I was telling Prime Minister Starmer, open up the North Sea. Open it up. You'll be okay. Open it up. They have two problems. They have a huge immigration problem. People coming from all over the world and just camping out in your country.
So he did go on for a little bit longer than that. You'll have to tune into Late Show to see the whole answer. And then I caught his eye again and got the opportunity to ask a second question, Patrick. And I asked again about migration, because as we all know as Brits, it's the one issue that Andy Burnham is still not talking about. Here's what the President told me.
I did, briefly. He's going to have to mention it because it's killing your country.
Mr. President,
killing you.
He won't talk to GBNews.
He's killing your country.
He won't talk to us.
And not him. I mean, we'll have to see. I know Starmer did very little about it. And they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Africa. They're coming from South America. They're coming from different parts of Asia. And they're invading Europe. I mean, they're invading Europe. It's an invasion. And the UK is a prime suspect.
He feels really strongly about that, and I genuinely, when he talks about that issue, you do get the sense that he just has the UK's best interests at heart, and he's beseeching our new Prime Minister, just try and do something about it in the way that Keir Starmer didn't, Patrick. So it was a nice afternoon in there. There wasn't a huge crowd of journalists. I was thrilled to get in there to catch his eye, and in fact it was a little bit embarrassing. Maybe it's a tribute to GB News that as everyone's leaving, he said this.
Only people that want to cheat. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody, guys. Thank you,
Thank you. Thank you, Bev.
Thank you. Thank you, Bev, and a little wink from the President, which feels, you know, it feels kind of vindicating. 6 years after the whole blooming COVID nonsense, when we've had Fauci being held to account today in the Senate. We're going to talk about that on the Late Show Live as well tonight. But yeah, funny how things work out, isn't it, Patrick?
It is. Well, thank you, Bev. Take care. I'll see you soon. All the best. All right. Bev Turner will be live midnight until 3 a.m. We'll be talking about everything that Trump has said there to Bev a little bit later on in the show. But coming up shortly here...
will require difficult decisions, but we will be honest with people about those.
OK, so we're going to try and figure out exactly what tax rises are on the way for you to pay for social care. But first...
You won't apologise because you're blaming Nigel Farage for amplifying it.
I think we also need to talk about a double standard.
No.
And there we go. Was that the moment that Zach Polanski doomed the Green Party forever? That's next.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Stop. You think we can allow...
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth. This is personal. No soft questions, no easy answers. It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them. Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way.
You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight. So it looks like Zach Polanski will face no further action. It's time now for our head-to-head. Well, Zach Polanski has refused to apologise after sharing and then removing a social media post featuring a man wearing a T-shirt reading "We're only making plans for Nigel," alongside an image of a cartoon guillotine.
First of all, you're saying you take responsibility for it and it was a mistake, and yet you won't apologise because you're blaming Nigel Farage for amplifying it.
I think we also need to talk about a double standard.
No, you keep taking the conversation on.
And yes, tonight, police say that they will not investigate the Green Party leader over resharing the post, saying it's unlikely the sharing of the image online would constitute a criminal offence. But it isn't the first controversy to strike Zach Polanski. He's made a number of claims that were not true, including saying he worked for the British Red Cross, the Ministry of Justice on their diversity programmes. Oh, and of course, he did try to hypnotise women to have bigger breasts, then claimed he was stitched up by the sun despite doing a BBC interview celebrating it. And, you know, I mean, it just goes on and on. And what is the issue with this council tax as well? Does he live on a barge? Does he live in a house? I mean, good grief. So, was this the final straw? Has Zach Polanski killed off the Green Party? Go ahead, tell them this now. Political commentator Jonathan Ellis and Reform Councillor Jamie McIver. Thank you very, very much, both of you. Yeah, Jamie, I'll go to you first. Do you think that we're witnessing the final throes here? Has Zach Polanski ended his political career?
Well, first of all, Patrick, let's be very clear. The Green Party are a pathetic organisation. They hoodwink people into thinking they're about green issues and they care about the environment, and all they are interested in is Gaza and causing hatred and division in our society. How many Jewish people feel safer knowing the Green Party have surged in the polls when they did? But you're seeing in the polls that Zach Polanski is struggling. What you're also seeing from this episode is that Zach Polanski is a dangerous person and actually highly unsuitable, because because what he did there put Nigel Farage in direct danger. It was an incitement to murder. That man should be arrested and should be in police custody and should be getting charged and taken to His Majesty's magistrates as soon as possible for what I think is a very serious matter. And I'm disgusted, actually, that there hasn't been further consequences.
Well, there's a lot to come back to there. Jonathan, I'll let you, answer this. Do you think that Zach Polanski's kind of quite car-crush interview, I thought, with Victoria Derbyshire last night is possibly one of the final nails in his political coffin?
No, Patrick, of course I don't think that. And I think it is completely hilarious to see the double standard where people who spent a year talking about how we are imprisoning people for tweets and why can't we be more like the Americans, and now calling for people to be jailed for wearing a T-shirt. The double standard is completely pathetic and hypocritical and ridiculous. People should not be put in jail for things they put on T-shirts or for tweets. And Zach Polanski mistakenly, accepted an invitation to collaborate on Instagram. Then, as soon as he saw the offending image, he removed it. It is a complete non-story, of course. And the fact that Reform people are up in arms about this, when people like Sarah Pochin were laughing about Keir Starmer, his house being set on fire, the idea that sort of Reform are these sort of bastions of virtue in politics is completely nonsensical. No. To answer your question, Patrick, of course, Zach Polanski is not the end of his career at all. This guy is taking the Greens from being a complete fringe event in British politics to being at the actual forefront of the conversation. They've never been higher than they are in the polls right now. They are soaking up the left-wing vote that Keir Starmer abandoned. Now, it remains to be seen whether Andy Burnham can reclaim some of that vote. He might be able to, but that's not because of the failure of Zach Polanski. That's because Labour's got its act together. Thank goodness. So the idea that sort of Zach is somehow sort of taking the Greens into disaster is just not true.
Well, he's not exactly put him in the headlines for good reasons.
The opponents are doing a good job.
Well, let's get Jamie back in. Go on.
Well, he's not exactly putting the Green Party in the headlines for all the right reasons. When was the last time he spoke about pollution in the River Roding, for example? This is a man that is only interested in external affairs. And when I say external affairs, external to the United Kingdom. He's only interested in Gaza. He hoodwinks voters into thinking they're voting on green issues. But on this particular saga, I think it is time up for Zach Polanski in his political career, because he actually did have an opportunity to do something quite incredible with the Green Party. And what he has done, because he's proven to be totally incompetent, you can't, as a significant national figure and leader of a political party like the Green Party, accidentally collaborate on an image like that on social media. Do you really think people believe that? It's very much my impression that it is very difficult to accidentally share an image like that. What has happened there is he has deliberately, I think, shared it, thinking it's funny because he doesn't like Nigel Farage and doesn't like Nigel Farage. It's all OK, isn't it, for everybody to pile onto Nigel Farage? That's OK, isn't it? Because people don't get prosecuted for that. You only really get prosecuted if you're sharing something nasty on Facebook and you happen to be on the wrong side of politics. We live in a two-tier country.
Jamie, someone was literally arrested the other day for threatening Nigel Farage. So what you're saying is absolute garbage. I'm sorry. The idea that it's two-tier justice. And with people like you going on for a year about Lucy Connolly, now someone wears a T-shirt and you're calling for people to send to the Tower of London.
Can I ask you
because Lucy Connolly was convicted and sent to prison for what she did. Why is Zach Palansky not being treated the same?
Well, yeah, but that's an interesting point.
But that's the point.
This is what I want to ask you about. Sorry, Joe. This is actually what I wanted to ask you about, John, because there is a point of agreement here, which is that I didn't agree with what Lucy Connolly did. I thought it was a bit silly. She deleted it, and I don't think she should have gone to prison. And I don't really think that the person who has done this time around with Nigel Farage should necessarily have gone to prison. However, we have sent people to prison. This is the point, isn't it? So because the rules have been set, right? I don't make the rules, you don't make the rules, but the rules were there. They were set. Loads of people went to prison or were at least prosecuted. Some of them were found not guilty by a jury of their peers, of course, but they were at least prosecuted for it. So why is it this time that shouldn't happen?
Patrick, you know, we've discussed this many times. I didn't think that Lucy Connolly should have been sent to jail. I think that I've been much more consistent on issues of speech than most of your guests, actually, who seem to sort of want everyone to be
but come on, just
set free
explain to me why she should and this person shouldn't. Why? What is the difference there?
Well, look, you'd have to ask the police about their particular decision-making on this. They weren't directly calling for Nigel Farage to be executed by a guillotine. And we know that sort of political violent metaphors have been used in politics for decades, if not centuries. Decapitation strategy, people being hammered or sort of cut off or defenestrated, all these things. They don't really mean that we should throw politicians out the window or sort of decapitate them. It means that we should defeat them. Right. Would I have chosen that image? Absolutely not. Would I have said it? No, I wouldn't have shared it on social media either. But this is not. I think that we should all just calm down a little bit. This is not Zach Palansky calling for Nigel Farage to be killed. Right. Of course it wasn't.
Well, look, we're going to have to knock it out the head down. We're obviously not going to agree on this topic, are we, as a panel? But anyway, thank you very much. Political commentator Jonathan Liss and Reform Councillor Jamie McIver. Just to reiterate, the police have said they're not going to be taking any further action against Zach Palansky, who does say as well it was an inadvertent mistake. Anyway, coming up,
will require difficult decisions, but we will be honest with people about those.
So, social care, it was on the front of, I think, 4 different national newspapers today. What I want to get to the bottom of is how much more tax are you going to pay in order to fund it, and where exactly are they going to try and tax you? So I'll answer those questions next.
Be nice to escape the grey.
Clear skies, here we come.
As clear as our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The heat wave that's leading to some exceptional temperatures and wildfires across parts of France and Spain, Portugal at the moment, that is continuing, but we're seeing the peak of the heat across France today, and then some of that hot air is pushing further eastwards. For Spain, Portugal, however, the hot weather continues into tomorrow. Further east and for Italy, even towards parts of Greece, temperatures in the high 30s, low 40s, with plenty of sunshine to come as we head into the weekend. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Heavy showers across parts of Scotland into tomorrow, feeling less hot further south, but it will be dry for most other areas away from that rain across parts of Scotland. It's been quite a wet day for parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland through today. That band of rain is sinking southwards through this evening, but the rain will tend to fade away. It introduces more cloud, though, further south into parts of Wales, Northern England and then central areas of England later on overnight. Very little in the way of rain, but you could see the odd spot of rain here and there. Dry for a time further north than that, but then further showers push in from the north and west. We've got much fresher air further north, so it's going to be a fresher start to the day. Quite a mild night, though, a warm night, in fact, across more southeastern areas. Now, after the fresher start across the north, there will be a plethora of showers pushing in from the north and west. These bring a risk of thunderstorms as well, particularly across more northwestern areas throughout much of Thursday, so quite an unsettled day. Drier, though, further south and east in parts of Scotland. Northern Ireland seeing a fairly fine day, a risk of showers, but brighter than today at least. More in the way of cloud, though, for parts of Wales, central areas of England down to the southwest. It should break up as the day goes on, but there is a risk of a little bit of light rain throughout much of the day. It will just be sort of here and there. No widespread or persistent rain is expected across southern areas. And it will still feel quite warm, potentially a little bit muggy across the south and east. Temperatures in the high 20s, so cooler than today, but certainly still quite warm for the time of year, or any time of year, in fact. Throughout Friday, we'll see plenty of dry weather around. We've got high pressure dominating, but that fresher air across the country with northwesterly winds that will be quite strong in the north, bringing more showers across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland, some areas of Northern England. Further south, though, another dry day. And it remains pretty dry into the weekend as well. Sunny spells and temperatures in the low to mid-20s. Bye-bye.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
GB loyalty points are here. They're our way of saying thank you for spending time with GB News. Through commenting on your say, voting in You Decide polls and shaping the debate, you can earn GB loyalty points. Unlock rewards, reach milestones and climb leaderboards. Don't just watch our programmes, come and be part of them. Get started by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/loyalty points.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. So Andy Burnham has pledged to put everything he's got into fixing social care, saying that Westminster has ducked this crisis for decades, leaving families paying the price and NHS under huge pressure. But the big question is, what will it look like and who will pay for it?
Some of what we would want to do in the fullest sense will require difficult decisions, but we will be honest with people about those. We will put them before the country at the right time, and we will hopefully proceed with people's consent.
Hopefully proceed with people's consent. If you don't consent, we'll do it anyway, but yeah. So what I want to know is this, right? What's it going to look like and how are you going to pay for it? So what taxes are you going to end up paying and whether or not you do consent to that? I'm joined by the Director of Public Services, Mark Littlewood, on this. Mark, thank you. So, right, who is going to be paying for this? How are we going to be paying for it? What taxes are we going to get?
Yeah, great questions, and I'm going to have to do some guesstimates here, Patrick. When Burnham says he's going to throw everything he's got at it, I've got some good news for him. He doesn't need to throw everything he's got at it. This is about 2.5% of total government expenditure. So he needs to throw 2.5p of every pound he's got at it, and it's case closed, right? That's about the amount of money that's needed, 2.5p in every pound of government expenditure. What he's most likely going to do, I suspect, because this just about sticks within the Labour manifesto if you squint a bit, is we'll have another rise on employers' national insurance. So you might not notice it directly when you get your pay slip, Patrick, but GB News will end up paying more tax for
employing.
More
people are unemployed, not just here, but nationally.
Yeah, for sure. The knock-on effects of that will be very bad. Employment will fall, but as an immediate grab, politically, I suspect we'll see employers' national insurance contributions increase probably by a percentage or two, and it will all be said this is for the good of the wider community, and we finally crack the problem. Unfortunately, Burnham seems determined to replicate the NHS model when it comes to care. He's even talked about a national care service. Now, obviously, care needs to link in very closely with healthcare, but I would much rather we had a system in which people accrue their own pots of money. You save when you're young, you save when you're earning well, which tends to be when you're sort of in your 40s or 50s is peak earnings, and then you tuck into that pot when you need it in old age. And I think we need to get back to what national insurance was all about. It was to cover you. It was not supposed to be general taxation. That's what income tax is for. That's the money that is used to help the poor and pay for defence. Your NIC contributions, your national insurance contributions should be in your private bucket earmarked for you, and you dip into those and you expend those in old age when you need them. But Burnham's a million miles away from embracing that.
I'm just going to use myself as an example here. So if I ended up paying more tax for a national care service, does that mean that people on benefits are going to be receiving less benefits every month to pay for their national care service?
No, because we don't levy these taxes on benefits. It's quite extraordinary, really. So if you're on benefits, and people argue that benefits should go up with wages, the bit that people never look at is that the person whose wages has gone up pays a slice of tax on that, whereas the person whose benefits have gone up by the same percentage doesn't pay a slice of tax on that. So if it's done through yet another tax on work, however cleverly cloaked that you charge the business rather than the employee directly, I'm afraid it's yet another transfer of money from those in work to those out. Now, we've seen the incentive effects of this. You know, it makes it harder and harder for business to employ people, and you get into this economic death spiral that it becomes more and more attractive at the margins not to work, less and less attractive to strive for promotion. And this, I suspect, I'm only guessing at what the Prime Minister's strategy will be turning the notch yet another dial in that direction.
Yeah, and of course, one of the other issues is that there's people at the moment who may choose to send their children to private schools, so they're paying for their own children's education, but through taxation, they're also paying for other people's education. So people, when they're in their dotage, might still decide to go to some kind of private care service, and then they would also then still be paying for everybody else's care as well, would they not?
Exactly right. We don't allow people who opt out of the system to claw that back against tax, and we should. We want more and more people, especially those who can afford it, to get out of the queue, so fewer state resources can be directed rather better than they are at the moment. But that is not the way this administration is going to work, I'm afraid.
Well, I hope that has answered some people's questions. It might not be the answers you were hoping for, but I think has cleared it up a little bit. We'll wait and see as and when Andy Burnham finally decides that he's going to come for us for our consent on all of this. Mark Littlewood there, we see more of him in about 10 minutes' time, Director of Popular Conservatives. I am going to be talking to you about this, though, very shortly.
Just keep it still for now. Yeah.
The squealing there of an illegal Sudanese migrant who took a knife, a hammer, a can of petrol into a school. He's just been sentenced today for 2 years. I'll get this, by the way. He might be out in a week. Yeah, we'll talk about that. But first, though...
Woman can have a penis.
Look, I'm not... that trans women don't have ovaries, but a cervix, I understand, is something that you can have.
Well, if you thought this was over under Andy Burnham, I'm afraid it's not. Find out the latest reason why Labour have got their knickers in a twist over what a woman is again. Well, mate, lovely stuff.
Nana Queer, weekends from 3 p.m.
It is really exciting. We've got 1 million people living with dementia in this country, and about 65%, 70% of them have Alzheimer's disease. This is a condition where a protein called amyloid beta builds up in plaques within the brain and interferes with the connection of nerve cells. It's a cruel disease, as I know you're aware. It robs families of the relative that they once loved, the personality that they knew, and it's the leading cause of death in this country. So, numbers are only increasing as the ageing population grows. But here we have in phase 3 clinical trials, which is the last stage of trials before a regulatory body approves it for use, which appears to clear some of these plaques within a few weeks. Now, that's really exciting.
GB News, the People's Channel. Britain's newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
What does this kind of day mean to you, kind of coming and doing this every year?
Well, I feel that I'm doing this for my wife because she used to sell poppies properly, really, and I used to help her for 20 odd years. And I feel like I'm doing it for her, really. But it is nice to think that everybody appreciate what we did for being in the forces.
But tell me about your service, because you got sent out to the Far East, didn't you?
Yes. I just got engaged because I didn't think I was going to get called up, but then I did.
In your jacket here, you've got one medal for national service and one for that Hong Kong medal for that.
To be honest, I was 18 years old and I was very excited about going. It was an adventure to me.
The People's Channel. Britain's newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
Weight loss jabs could help children as young as 6 who are living with obesity. When did we start saying living with obesity? Can we not say obese children? Is that not politically correct? Well, delighted to be joined now by Sarah LeBrock, Director of All About Obesity. Sarah, I think a lot of people will feel slightly uneasy about children getting on these jabs, simply because we sort of expect, I don't know, diets to be managed by parents.
Yeah, I can totally understand why people would think that. But the point we're not talking about just overweight children here. We're talking about children living with obesity. And interestingly, you say, why do we say living with obesity? It's because they're living with a chronic condition.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back. So, by now, we're all familiar with just how absurd the debate over what constitutes a woman has become in recent years.
Woman can have a penis.
Look, I'm not that trans women don't have ovaries, but a cervix, I understand, is something that you can have.
Then we had a Supreme Court ruling confirming what many say was absolutely bleeding obvious, that in law the definition of a woman is based on biological sex. Pretty clear cut, although perhaps not for the Labour Party, whose new leader suggested that single-sex spaces are a minority view, and now there is a fresh row. Labour's biggest backers, the trade unions, are boycotting the party's women's conference after Labour received legal advice that trans women should not be allowed to attend, so it's blokes. In fact, last year's conference became so bitterly divided that they actually cancelled it. So I'm very pleased to be joined now by gender-critical activist Maeve Halligan. Thank you very, very much. Tremendous to see you. What do you make of this, though?
So the Labour Women's Conference is just one day tacked on to the annual General Conference, and I should add that the Labour Women's Declaration are already advocating for it to be a proper, full, in its own right, two-day affair from September 2027. As it stands, though, this is a one-day thing, and what that does mean is there is no scope here for pandering to the, fetishistic or deluded men, whatever the case may be, and there's also no scope for time wasting. So what happens right now is that Labour have finally, after cancelling it last year, as you mentioned, they've decided to, exclude trans-identifying men, otherwise sometimes known as trans women, but that's just needlessly confusing language. So they're excluding these people, they're barring them because they are men, and this is a women's conference, the clue's in the name. Now, these men are still permitted, mind you, to attend what's known as sort of the fringe events of the conference, so the exhibition and the reception, but they are not permitted to sort of engage in the more formal elements of the conference, so, policy, speeches, debate, and then votes and similar. And they're obviously outraged by this because, of course, their main aim in life is to infiltrate women's spaces and rights. Now, this is a problem for so many reasons, but one of the main things is that I refuse to credit Labour leadership with having made this decision solely based on conviction. They are not doing that. They are doing that simply because they are bound by the law and not because they have any interest in protecting the truth, acknowledging biological reality, or promoting the sex-based rights of women. It is simply not the case. So when you look at this boycott, it's effectively these unions fighting with the law rather than with Labour politics, and that's extremely problematic for a whole host of reasons, but let's call it what it is. This is absolute arrogance in the face of the highest court in this land, the Supreme Court, having told them what everybody already knew, by the way, and they are still fighting against it and boycotting it.
Why do you think the unions are doing this?
Well, partly, this is really important to mention, this is a question of financial leverage. So Unison specifically, one of the 4 unions that have decided to boycott, they donated, gave to the Labour Party over the past 25 years over £40 million. So as far as I'm concerned, this is them trying to deploy financial leverage against a legal compliance decision.
Because they are so pro-trans?
Well, yeah. I mean, and what I do know from my experiences at university and from, our knowledge now of other institutions in Britain, it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody in an organisation, or in this case a union, is necessarily pro-trans. What we know about trans is it's effective because it's so well peddled by a very, very loud minority, partly because it's a question of identity, so people get extremely emotional, and also it's one of the debates right now where if you dissent, your morality is called into question. And my personal experience speaks to that, but I think this is a prime example as well. I believe that there will be people in these unions who are absolutely gender critical, but they will not say so publicly, because to dissent is to risk everything, including livelihood.
But we actually saw over the weekend, didn't we? We've got to be relatively snappy here, but we saw over the weekend, didn't we, calls to hang... I think it was Queen Camilla and J.K. Rowling, all of this stuff. You know, 90% of pigs are gassed to death, and yet turf still exists, was one of the posters there. Just quickly, it is dangerous to be a turf.
I would say so. I mean, again, my personal experience and those of my peers, other young gender-critical women, really speak to that. I mean, I've received violent threats, rape threats and all the rest of it simply for associating on a sex basis. It can be dangerous to be a TERF, but what I do know is that the Labour Women's Conference should absolutely be for women only. It shouldn't be called into question.
Well, here. Thank you very, very much. Tremendous to see you. That's Maeve Halligan there, who's a gender-critical activist. Labour for Trans Rights have said, for decades, trans women members have had a home in Labour structures. It's not acceptable that they're being blatantly excluded. The trade union movement, including the Labour-affiliated unions, have been incredible allies of the trans community. They want them to reconsider, and a Labour Party spokesman has said Labour is committed to advancing women in politics and to providing all opportunities. The Labour Women's Conference reflects our commitment to that. Right, look, when we come back, we're going to talk about an absolutely unbelievable story involving a Sudanese man and a school.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update, brought to you from the Met Office. Heavy showers across parts of Scotland into tomorrow, feeling less hot further south, but it will be dry for most other areas away from that rain across parts of Scotland. It's been quite a wet day for parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland through today. That band of rain is sinking southwards through this evening, but the rain will tend to fade away. It introduces more cloud, though, further south into parts of Wales, Northern England and then central areas of England later on overnight. Very little in the way of rain, but you could see the odd spot of rain here and there. Dry for a time further north than that, but then further showers push in from the north and west. We've got much fresher air further north, so it's going to be a fresher start to the day. Quite a mild night, though, a warm night, in fact, across more southeastern areas. Now, after the fresher start across the north, there will be a plethora of showers pushing in from the north and west. These bring a risk of thunderstorms as well, particularly across more northwestern areas throughout much of Thursday, so quite an unsettled day. Drier, though, further south and east in parts of Scotland. Northern Ireland seeing a fairly fine day, a risk of showers, but brighter than today at least. More in the way of cloud, though, for parts of Wales, central areas of England down to the southwest. It should break up as the day goes on, but there is a risk of a little bit of light rain throughout much of the day. It will just be sort of here and there. No widespread or persistent rain is expected across southern areas. And it will still feel quite warm, potentially a little bit muggy across the south and east. Temperatures in the high 20s, so cooler than today, but certainly still quite warm for the time of year, or any time of year, in fact. Throughout Friday, we'll see plenty of dry weather around. We've got high pressure dominating, but that fresher air across the country with northwesterly winds that will be quite strong in the north, bringing more showers across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland, some areas of Northern England. Further south, though, another dry day, and it remains pretty dry into the weekend as well. Sunny spells and temperatures in the low to mid-20s. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather.
It's a Great British Giveaway Golden Summer Celebration. Your chance to win 2 fantastic prizes. There's an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, you'll also get your hands on a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very, very easy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight.
Just keep it still for now. Yeah.
A Sudanese illegal immigrant who failed to get asylum 3 times has been sentenced today after walking into a school with a knife, a hammer, a hatchet and half a litre of petrol. Meanwhile...
Are you the people smuggler? Sorry, I didn't mean to... Yeah? You're breaking the law, my friend. You're breaking the law.
It's Andy's Armada. Around 600 illegals have arrived in Britain today alone. But just take a little look at this from the French police.
Can you stop them?
Our order
is
to let them go like that.
Yes, the French confirm they're under orders not to stop the boats. In other news, though, this is a huge victory for GB News in the fight against jihadi Islamist terror. Thanks to us highlighting his early release, the government have been forced to step in to block it. I've got the full story for you in a second, but it's actually not the only GB News victory. In fact, the wins keep on coming.
The National Reality TV Award for Best News Programme goes to GB News.
Well done. Growing and growing.
Well, there you go. Apparently the Best News Programme Award has just been given to GB News. So thank you very much to all of you wonderful viewers and listeners for, giving us all of your support. Also tonight, though, back to the hard news. A Norwegian man was paid by Iran to kill someone on British soil. It's an absolutely bonkers story, this, and it should be a bit of a warning for everyone. Plus...
Harry, how confident
Good morning, Harry. How are you?
Well, Prince Harry could be on the hook for £10 million in legal fees after having his rear end handed to him in court. But we will, of course, also be taking all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. The Daily Express is reporting that Dame Esther Ranson is among campaigners begging Andy Burnham not to abandon them as he effectively ruled out legalised assisted dying. Anyway, on my panel tonight, we have got the Director of the Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood, Editorial Director at Guido Fawkes, Adam Cherry, and journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. And can you tell me what happens next here? Get ready, Britain. Here we go. A Sudanese illegal migrant who went into a school with a knife, a hammer, a hatchet and half a litre of petrol could be back on the streets next week. Next.
Good evening. The top stories at 10 o'clock. Police will not investigate Zach Polanski after he was reported by Reform UK to the Met Police. The Green Party leader has been widely condemned and was reported to the police over a social media post appearing to threaten Nigel Farage's life. Mr Polanski has refused to issue an apology. The force said its investigation reached several conclusions, including saying he did not see the image and he unshared it, also contributing to their decision. Mr Farage had this to say.
If people post on social media things that are racist or insightful, they nearly always get a knock at the door, charged, and that's right and proper. If we're going to have even field on this, then Polanski, who is in a position of serious responsibility with a large number of followers, cannot put out on his social media the image that he did, my name, the guillotine, without some consequences. Now look, we all get things wrong in life. We all make mistakes in life. And what we do afterwards is we apologise. Given that he refuses to apologise, I expect the Metropolitan Police to act.
Elsewhere, Andy Burnham has promised to put everything he's got into fixing adult social care as he puts the issue at the centre of his first days in Number 10. The Prime Minister says Westminster has ducked the crisis for decades, leaving families paying the price and the NHS under huge pressure. He's announced plans for a new national care service to sit alongside the NHS, with reforms to strengthen the care workforce through better pay and training. But when pressed on whether taxes would need to rise to pay for the reforms, he avoided giving a direct answer, leaving questions over how the plans will be funded. Speaking at a care home in London, Andy Burnham said Westminster has put point scoring before fixing a crisis affecting families and the NHS.
It's a major dereliction of public duty that Parliament has not faced up to this, of all challenges, something so fundamental to life as this. It's shameful, to be honest, that politicians have put point scoring before fixing this issue, but that's what's happened.
More than 500 illegal migrants have crossed the English Channel today, GB News can confirm. The migrants reached UK waters after people smugglers launched a wave of 11 migrant boats from a huge stretch of coastline. GB News can confirm boats were pushed out from beaches in Belgium down to the French port of Dieppe, around 130 miles further south. And as you've been hearing, a teenage hitman from Norway has been found guilty of travelling to England to carry out a murder for money. 19-year-old Johannes Natland agreed to shoot an unknown target for €25,000 in a plot for a crime group linked to Iran. Armed police arrested him at a hotel in Huddersfield, where they found 2 guns, 12 live bullets, gloves and £2,000 in cash. Natland claimed he never intended to kill anyone and planned to shoot himself in the foot to escape the gang, but a jury at the Old Bailey has found him guilty of conspiracy to murder. Those are the latest GB News headlines. For now, it's back to Patrick.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Well, some breaking news for you now before we carry on with the show as planned. I can reveal that GB News has won the Best News Programme Award at the National Reality TV Awards.
The National Reality TV Award for Best News Programme goes to GB News.
Well done. Growing and growing.
Well, there we go, eh? And the GB News gang were, it says all there, but we weren't all there, were they? I was here. Anyway, here you go.
But what can I say? We won! Yeah! Look at that! Another award for GB News. I mean, we have been going for 5 years. When we started, everyone thought that we'd only last for 6 months, and now here we are, winning awards constantly. I mean, it's just phenomenal. I'm so grateful to be part of the channel and part of the whole progress from the start, and it's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, isn't it great? We run reality news programme of the year. We do try and report reality. Hopefully the viewers appreciate it.
Yeah, and we wouldn't be here without our amazing audience, would we? That's what it's all about.
I do think it's great now. We always win the awards when it's about the people voting. Don't you think that's interesting? When the juries, these panels have a say, it's a bit tougher for us. When the people back home, when they have their say, you get to hold a gong like that, don't you? Not so bad.
Thank you very much. Yeah!
Well, it seems like they're having a good night, doesn't it? So there we go. But they are right, of course. Thank you very much to all the GB News viewers and listeners, especially the new ones as well. It all does spread really by word of mouth and people telling their friends and talking down the pub or wherever you are that you should be tuning into GB News. We will keep fighting for you. So thank you very, very much. But back on with the show as planned. And it is, of course, a very, very serious story. Look at what we are doing to our country. A dangerous Sudanese illegal immigrant who'd been refused asylum 3 times wandered into 2 schools in Greater Manchester. And the second one, he was armed with a knife, a hammer, a hatchet and half a litre of petrol. You're looking at CCTV footage of this now. He went to a secondary school where he managed to get in before eventually being confronted by some workmen. Now, thankfully, it was the school holidays, but I'm absolutely sure that this Sudanese nutjob did not know that, did he? The workman called the police, who turned up and arrested him. And actually, I'm able to show you now the moment he was arrested.
Just keep it still for now. Yeah.
You can see the jerry can of petrol there next to him. One day before that incident, he was spotted outside another school acting oddly, and he kicked and damaged the school's intercom system. So, you know, there were warning signs there, weren't there? The man is Both Dug Deng. He's from South Sudan. He is believed to have come to Britain illegally in 2024. He immediately tried to claim asylum. He was rejected 3 times, but not deported. He was living in a taxpayer-funded house of multiple occupation in Greater Manchester with other asylum seekers. He was jailed today for just 2 years. But because he's been held on remand since that incident, that means he could be out of prison in just over a week's time. So just let that sink in. He armed himself with a knife, a hammer, a hatchet, half a litre of petrol. He went to not 1 but 2 schools. He's already here illegally, and now he could be back out on the streets in about a week's time. What are we playing at? Deng claims that he's got a wife and kids in Sudan. Oh, so he just left them behind. What a bloke he is, an upstanding male role model. Here's what his defence barrister said in court. Now, I'm going to go through this bit by bit, OK? This was a bizarre and compulsive act, lacking in any type of maturity at a time when he was in deep distress, having left Sudan and his family in traumatic circumstances. He wanted attention, and he was in crisis. But he was not motivated by hostility towards children, teachers or the wider public, and there is no evidence that he threatened any individual. OK, right, so firstly, I don't care about how traumatic your circumstances were, if they even exist. You're not our problem. Secondly, you wanted attention, so you just thought, I'll go to 2 schools armed to the teeth. That, Mr. Deng, is not really how we do things in this country. The fact that he even thought about that shows that we are importing dangerous weirdos. Thirdly, there's no evidence that he threatened any individuals. Well, it was the school holidays, so there were no kids there. You know, he didn't just take 1 weapon with him, did he? He actually took 4 weapons with him. Pretty threatening, that, really, if you ask me. Anyway, the defence barrister carried on. He found himself in a foreign country with very limited English and unable to work because of his immigration status. He believed and felt that no one was listening to him and no one was helping him. All right, we'll stop it there. We don't owe you anything, mate. And we were helping you. You had bed and board and almost definitely legal aid. I mean, the defence continued. He felt he'd reached the end of his ability to cope with the HMO, where others in similar circumstances to him had been assisted by the immigration authorities. He became increasingly frustrated that the same was not happening for him. His only wish is to work and find money to support his family. Oh, yeah. OK, all right. So he just wanted to work, did he? Doing what? Well, let's see. He had a hammer with him, so maybe he's an engineer. He had a knife. He might be a surgeon. He had a petrol can. Maybe he was actually a Formula One car pit stop assistant back in South Sudan. If only our racist immigration system had let him work, he'd have been refilling Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari at the Monaco Grand Prix by now, wouldn't he? So what is the Home Office actually going to do about this? Because the judge in the case is practically begging for them to deport this man. Judge Bernadette Baxter said to him during the sentencing, I have no power to order the Home Office to do anything, but in my judgment, given your circumstances as a failed asylum seeker who has been in custody for the best part of a year, the Home Office should be doing something rather than nothing to deal with your status in this country. Look, just get this guy out of our country now. And we have had more than 1,400 illegals arrive in Britain in the last week. Now, all of this, what I've just shown you, happened in Greater Manchester. So what does Andy Burnham keep banging on about?
This is Manchesterism.
Oh, yes, Manchesterism. Well, apparently Manchesterism means allowing dangerous lunatics from South Sudan to wander into schools armed to the teeth. Well, you can count me out. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. We've got the Director of Public Services, Mark Littlewood, the Editorial Director at Guido Fawkes, Adam Cherry, and journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. Right, OK, so it looks, Mark, like this guy might be back out on the streets next week.
Staggering, isn't it? Look, I'm sometimes reluctant to base my entire policy approach on one case, but this one case highlights so many failures in the system, it's untrue. His asylum application has been failed 3 times. I mean, 3 times, you say. Well, what the hell happened after the first failure? Absolutely extraordinary. I didn't realise you got 3 bites at the cherry. He's clearly dangerous. We can only speculate on what the hell he was attempting to do at that school. It is staggering that he is still in the country. And all of this comes down to legal problems. You've got the judge there, as you rightly say, unusually for a judge, basically begging the political authorities to get him out of the country. But until we escape our human rights framework, frankly, we are going to find it near impossible to do it. We have loaded the dice so heavily in favour of people like this that removal is damn difficult. And we need our politicians to change the law. Without a change in the law, you are going to be reporting on cases like this, as indeed you do, Patrick, week after week after week after week. We've got to use all the power we can to deport people like this fast. The claims for wanting more assistance are absolutely outrageous.
Well, it's ludicrous. I don't know if we might be able to play a bit more of that CCTV that we showed you earlier, but it is stark. He's walking around the second school he's trying to get into with petrol, with a knife, with a hatchet, and with a hammer. I mean, sorry, but you don't just do that. There's no way. He's
distressed, Patrick. Look at that.
He's distressed. I know. I'm sorry, but I reckon he was wandering around thinking, where are all the kids? I don't think he will have figured out that it was school holidays. I think we're doing this guy far too much credit to think he just wandered into a school and scholars. What would be the point of going to a school? The premeditation of the arming yourself and choosing locations that are where you know children are going to be, and he only got 2 years. I find it bizarre, Adam.
Well, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to work out what his plans were. Luckily, he's too much of a moron to pull off exactly what we all know he wanted to do there. He won't be the last to do this sort of thing, I'm afraid. Hopefully the authorities, well done to the police and those who were there to stop him. He won't be the last, he's not the first. I agree with Mark, this is damning indictment on the judicial system here.
Yeah. I mean, we've got to deport this guy, surely.
Well, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and defend somebody like that. Obviously not. He's, you know, he should have been. If he's a failed asylum seeker, then we should have got rid of him. Do we have a returns agreement with Sudan? If we do, then he should be gone. If we don't, then there's a problem. What do we do in that case? You know, but you know,
the thing is, with someone like that, I don't care.
Yeah.
No, I know, but the thing is,
just don't
there has to but there has to be physically a way of removing him to Sudan, and if the Sudanese won't take him, which we don't know, then what do we do?
Yeah, but I think you either go for the third country Rwanda option as a backstop, but I think you've also got to see, and I blame the previous government for this as well, we've got to be a lot more muscular. We've got to say to Sudan, if you won't take him back, no Sudanese person is coming to Britain for any purpose whatsoever, tourism, business or anything else. We will stop money flowing from the UK to Sudan. No bank transfer will be allowed. Well, whereas all we do at the moment is say, please, will you take this bloke back?
Yeah.
And obviously the domestic government says, no thanks, he looks like a nutter.
Just look at this.
So we've got to use a bit of muscular power.
Just look at this. 2024 to 2025, 226.5 million to Sudan from the British taxpayer. 2025, 2026, 120 million to Sudan. Earmarked, for this coming year, 146 million. So that's approximately 500 million as well, that we've spent between 2019 and 2025. I mean, my maths isn't good enough to work all of this out quickly here, but we're nudging £1 billion here, aren't we?
And I'm told that all this international aid is supposed to buy us tons of soft power.
Yeah, soft power, yeah.
Soft power. Well, let's use that soft power and make it very goddamn plain to the recipients of it that you are taking your nationals back.
But this for me, Nina, when you see what's going on in the Channel, I always spoke about this at 9 o'clock, but when you see what's going on in the Channel now, and you see, when I was over there the last 2 times in Calais and around Dunkirk, there were like the overwhelming majority were Sudanese. Okay, and you look at this. We had a Sudanese bloke who stabbed a migrant hotel worker to death as she was walking home. We've had so many cases here, so many cases. You must feel as though what's going on in the Channel is a very real and present danger. We could have had a massacre of children there.
Look. This is all quite dreadful. The Home Office has not got a grip on this. First of all, for years now, it has not been fit for purpose. They don't process people quickly enough. Well, this guy has been processed. So then we should then have got rid of him, and we haven't, and that's a huge failing. So I understand that, but I think we make a huge mistake in saying, because we imply that every man who comes across on a boat is not a refugee, but is some kind of paedophile, maniac murderer. They are not. They are absolutely not.
Well, they should come through legally. Yeah.
But there are no legal routes for them to come through legally.
You can get a legal visa to come from Sudan.
Also, they're coming from France. Yeah.
I know, but they are allowed to. As a refugee, you're allowed to go to the country that you want to. Well, you can pass through. You know, we've had this discussion for years and years and years.
The other issue here is the HMO issue. Right, so this guy was yet again is a case of someone who is in a house of multiple occupation, dropped into a community, and here we go. This is one of the biggest near misses that we've ever had.
But then physically, where do you put them?
Sudan.
But if you cannot get them back to Sudan,
yes,
then
you
what
can.
do
We
you
have
do?
aircraft, Nina.
Yeah, but if they won't accept them at the other end,
you switch off that foreign aid for a start.
Yeah, okay. Well, then you have to go through that process.
Right.
Fine,
So
go through that process.
Not much of a process. It's a phone call.
You need a third country.
Well, you may well need a
third country.
But the pragmatic thing is, this guy is here. So physically, and a lot of them.
So then, at minimum, going forward now, when we're going to get these military barracks, you lock them in the military barracks. Yep. Because this is what's happening. Yeah. All these lads that we've seen come across today, the 600 or so, there's still some in the Channel at the moment making their way here. Mm-hmm. They are earmarked to go to military posts. They'll be in Crowborough in a few days' time. Well, I'm sorry, but the people of Crowborough will, I guarantee you, will be sitting here watching this case today and thinking there is no there is no way I'm going to let my daughter or son go to school again in September unless I know that we've got proper security on that school and everything. But
the majority of them are not a threat.
Yeah, but you only need a minority to be a threat.
I'm saying
the fact that they're not all rapists and murderers.
No, I mean,
but peaceful.
But you have to.
But then, Nina, sorry, but when something like this happens again, and there are kids there, and the worst happens and there are riots, which there will be, are you going to condemn the rioters?
No, I'm not going to condemn. Well, nobody should riot.
Well,
you know, not physical violence. Not physical violence.
Hang on a minute.
No. I mean, we have to have a balanced view, and that is not balanced. Looking at them and saying that they're all rapists. That
Nobody
all,
says that.
No. Yeah, but
Nobody makes that claim.
The implication is that we sit here week after week after week saying the same thing.
There's a disproportionate number of them.
Disproportionate number are, but not all.
We are saying, for the sake of protecting our own border and our own citizens and those who come here legally, I'm afraid that if you come here illegally, you will be treated as if you committed a crime.
And you are completely ignoring the fact of genuine refugees, and we have completely forgotten the fact that there are people.
France.
Well, unfortunately for the genuine refugees, there have been so many fraudsters that we've let in that I'm afraid we're going to have to take radical action to stop them. And, you know, OK, all right, no one can say Britain hasn't already done enough, Nina.
We don't do nearly as much as other countries. We don't do. We don't do. I mean, we take far less than France, far less than Germany, far less than Spain, far less than Italy.
Well, Germany's just ended its asylum system, basically. Exactly. Ended it. You can't claim asylum.
And Spain has just added 1 million to their population.
So we should do that, should we?
I want the German system.
And the Spanish economy is thriving.
Not because of that.
Absolutely
not because of that. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out over the course of the next few years, by the way. But anyway, look, obviously that was the case of that bloke who, you know, and it's a good job we put his mugshot out there because it sounds very much like he's going to be back out on the streets next week. So, you know, keep your eyes peeled. But before we get to that, it's the Great British Giveaway, of course, isn't it? Yes, it's loads of cash and a gold bar, which is exactly what our friend from Sudan will probably be receiving from the Home Office in the next week.
We're celebrating a golden summer with a terrific two-part Great British Giveaway. First, you could win a sensational £60,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like this year. What would you do with that? And that's not all, as you'll also win our most precious prize to date, a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. It's pure gold to own, trade or gift to a loved one and secure their financial future. So make sure you don't miss your chance to bank over £65,000 worth of prizes in our Golden Summer celebration. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
All right, coming up, we'll take a look at all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. But before that, this is a big victory for GB News in the fight against jihadi Islamist terror. Thanks to us highlighting his early release, the government have now stepped in to block a bloke who wanted to blow up a military army base. We're going to give you the full details next.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way.
You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Portillo. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christys tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I. Those are just facts. I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
We can allow.
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. So this is a big victory for GB News here. Let me just reintroduce you to Zahid Iqbal. He is the Al-Qaeda-inspired terrorist who was jailed for 16 years for plotting to blow up an army territorial base in Luton using a remote-controlled toy car packed with explosives. Now, despite serious concerns from people who knew him, the parole board twice cleared him for release. But here at GB News, and in fact on this very programme, we have campaigned relentlessly to keep this guy behind bars. And tonight, after quite a lot of pressure, we can reveal that the government has now stepped in to block his release. The new Justice Secretary, Alice Norris, has taken the highly unusual step of referring Iqbal's case to the High Court, meaning that he'll remain in prison now while judges decide whether or not he should be freed. It's worth noting he was already granted parole in 2021, but he was found to be in possession of an unauthorised mobile phone and he deleted his communication records, so he was recalled for prison. So he's already had one bite of the cherry, hasn't he? Joining us to discuss this now is the former Attorney General, Sir Michael Ellis. Thank you very, very much.
Hello, Patrick.
Tremendous to have you on the show. So, look, this is obviously a bit of a victory, but it's not a total victory, is it? We're at the mercy of the judges.
Well, it's a step towards victory, and it's a great success, and credit to you and your team, really, for this, because this is a very rarely used power. And one of the reasons it's very rarely used is because it's quite a new power. Actually, this was brought in only 2 years ago. It was in the closing days of the last Conservative government in 2024, and it's called the Victim and Prisoners Act 2024. It allows the Secretary of State to refer to a High Court judge a decision of the parole board that he, the Secretary of State, thinks is not right, basically, or that is, to put it more legally, that is contrary to the public interest. And what has clearly happened here is that the brand new, Andy Burnham's brand new Justice Secretary, Alex Norris, has taken the decision to refer this case to the High Court because the parole board have, on 2 separate occasions now, said that this particular prisoner is eligible for release. Clearly, the Justice Secretary doesn't think that's right and is asking the judge to make the decision.
And in amongst this case as well, there was testimony from prison guards and prison officers who see this guy every day, really, and a psychologist as well, who all said that this guy should not be released.
And that's what's fascinating about this case, and that's why I think you see this as an example, because my understanding is that there are victims, so the victims in this particular case, but also experts, people like psychologists and professional people who have assessed this particular prisoner, do not agree, apparently, with the decision of the parole board. So this decision was made in the first instance, I believe, in May. David Lammy was asked by Chris Philp, who is the Tory Shadow Home Secretary, to look at it again. Lammy referred it to the parole board a second time. They stuck by their original decision. Now it's been taken by Alex Norris off the parole board and sent to a judge to consider whether that's right or not.
And how do these judges form their opinions? Because it's easy for me to sit here, and I do suspect most of our viewers and listeners as well, and think, you know, just throw away the key as long as we possibly can for this guy. So what do you reckon the judge will do here?
The judge has got to make a determination, Patrick, about whether this decision undermines public confidence in the parole system. Now, you could argue, of course, at the one extreme that the release of any prisoner who's committed a sort of top-tier offence undermines or has the potential to undermine public confidence. So you have to take a step back and say, should I usurp, countermand the decision of the parole board, whose job it usually is, in 99% of these cases, to make these difficult decisions? And he's going to look, he or she, this judge, is going to look at, is the decision to release him irrational? Is the decision one that is in error of law? Have they made a technical error? Or is it procedurally unfair? If the judge determines that any of those things apply, he's going to say, I'm going to overrule the parole board and not allow this prisoner to be released.
The parole board presumably can they withdraw? They could maybe hold their hands up and go, look, we don't really want to go to the High Court here. I'm not that desperate to have this particular jihadi back out on the streets of Luton.
I don't think that's likely to happen. For one thing, the parole board is given by statute only 2 days to, once the Justice Secretary has ordered them to do it, they've got 2 days to get the paperwork to the High Court, which isn't very long at all. They have to get their skates on, send the paperwork to the High Court. I think this is now going to go before a High Court judge in the coming weeks. In the meantime, he'll have to remain in custody. But will the judge say it would be irrational to release this person? In the face of the evidence that I have before me, expert evidence, victims' testimony and all the rest of it, is it irrational, or have they gone wrong? Have they procedurally made a mistake? Have they made an error of law? He's going to look at all that stuff. Judges, we have very good judges, to be fair, in this country. Intellectually, the brightest there is. They'll have to make a determination about that. No emotion in it. It has to be a purely legal decision and say, what should we do here? Clearly, this is a big case. It's a very significant thing, because so few of these cases are dealt with like this, get sent to the High Court. For the government, especially this government, to seek to overrule the parole board is quite something.
Well, look, there we go. It's a step in the right direction. Thank you very much for coming on.
Watch this space.
Watch this space. Well, hopefully we get you back on in a few weeks' time and we can claim a total victory. So we'll see. All the very best. Thank you very much. Sir Michael Ellis there is the former Attorney General. God, what a contrast between the one that we've just had, Anyway. Right, on the 6th of August, join me in Essex to celebrate Britain. Yes, I'm going to be reporting live throughout the day, meeting viewers, hearing your stories and celebrating Britain together. This is a really big bash here that we're doing at GB News to thank you, actually, for the last 5 years. There'll also be an opportunity to join me live at our live event, so find out more, take part in the conversation, apply for those tickets, or to be at our event now, scan the QR code that should be on your screens in front of you, or go to gbnews.com/celebrate. Get in quick because ticket applications close this Sunday. Right. Well, for that, of course, we're going to be talking about all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. And can you tell me, please, what happens next here?
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The heat wave that's leading to some exceptional temperatures and wildfires across parts of France and Spain, Portugal at the moment, that is continuing, but we're seeing the peak of the heat across France today, and then some of that hot air is pushing further eastwards. For Spain, Portugal, however, the hot weather continues into tomorrow. Further east and for Italy, even towards parts of Greece, temperatures in the high 30s, low 40s, with plenty of sunshine to come as we head into the weekend. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Heavy showers across parts of Scotland into tomorrow, feeling less hot further south, but it will be dry for most other areas away from that rain across parts of Scotland. It's been quite a wet day for parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland through today. That band of rain is sinking southwards through this evening, but the rain will tend to fade away. It introduces more cloud, though, further south into parts of Wales, Northern England and then central areas of England later on overnight. Very little in the way of rain, but you could see the odd spot of rain here and there. Dry for a time further north than that, but then further showers push in from the north and west. We've got much fresher air further north, so it's going to be a fresher start to the day. Quite a mild night, though, a warm night, in fact, across more southeastern areas. Now, after the fresher start across the north, there will be a plethora of showers pushing in from the north and west. These bring a risk of thunderstorms as well, particularly across more northwestern areas throughout much of Thursday, so quite an unsettled day. Drier, though, further south and eastern parts of Scotland. Northern Ireland seeing a fairly fine day, a risk of showers, but brighter than today at least. More in the way of cloud, though, for parts of Wales, central areas of England down to the southwest. It should break up as the day goes on, but there is a risk of a little bit of light rain throughout much of the day. It will just be sort of here and there. No widespread or persistent rain is expected across southern areas. And it will still feel quite warm, potentially a little bit muggy across the south and east. Temperatures in the high 20s, so cooler than today, but certainly still quite warm for the time of year, or any time of year, in fact. Throughout Friday, we'll see plenty of dry weather around. We've got high pressure dominating, but that fresher air across the country with northwesterly winds that will be quite strong in the north, bringing more showers across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland, some areas of Northern England. Further south, though, another dry day. And it remains pretty dry into the weekend as well. Sunny spells and temperatures in the low to mid-20s. Bye-bye.
From cold mornings
to warm family brunches.
From football to tennis in the car.
In the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there. With the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again to start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
All right, well, welcome back. Let me get you the first of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. The Independent, they go for scorched earth Britain. So there you are, yes, it's all very dry out there. The Metro, future looking droughtful for baking Britain. Supposedly we are 1 day away from an official, nationwide drought, apparently. The Daily Express, dying tell PM, we don't have time for these delays. This is campaigners devastated after Burnham says the law and assisted deaths must wait. Well, I'm sorry, but, I must say I find it baffling, the Daily Express's desire to see the back of Esther Ransom. But The Sun, how's that plan going, PM? And they go for the Friendship Mitt waving migrants through, 1,000 arrive in a day. Let's just focus a bit on this drought stuff just for a couple of minutes, because it is, supposedly, are we on the brink, am I right in saying, of of a nationwide hosepipe ban or something like that if we have one more hot day?
Yes, I think it's 50% of the country is in drought conditions, and one more day of this might lead to some water rationing, is what they're saying. So that would be things like hosepipe bans. I mean, there's all sorts of ludicrous, tiny advice. You know, do not pre-wash your dishes before you put them in the dishwasher. Shower for 2 minutes fewer every day or whatever. The key thing, though, the takeaway lesson from this, and it's interesting how the papers have reported it. 3 or 4 years ago, this would have been climate change devastates Britain. It is now at least being described as drought. And I hope we're moving into a situation where, insofar as climate change is affecting us, we adapt to it rather than attempting to stop it. So we need more reservoirs, perhaps, in future if we're going to have hotter temperatures.
That's exactly it. Yeah, I was going to say, well, we haven't built a reservoir in, is it 34 years? Yeah. My advice...
That was outrageous.
They're handing out advice to us to have a slightly shorter shower. My advice is build some reservoirs.
The thing is, and don't you remember at the beginning of this year, the end of winter, it was the wettest winter on record. So where is all that water gone?
Yes.
I mean,
June was pretty rainy.
It's outrageous. It's completely outrageous. The water companies have polluted our rivers and then don't have the water when we need it. It's just shocking.
No, I agree.
It should never have been privatised. Margaret Thatcher, disaster.
Yes. I mean, rapid population growth has had something to do with this as well. But, you know, but there we are. But yeah, I mean, we had a slightly farcical situation in the park opposite where I live where they fenced it off all winter so that they could lay new turf. So they blocked everyone from being able to go on the grass all winter, couldn't go on it at all. Nice new turf.
And
they can't water it now because of the hosepipe ban, so it's all dead. Yep. It looks like the Sahara. And I wonder how much taxpayers' money they spend on that.
Exactly. And why don't they use drones to see where the leaking pipes are? There's still plenty leaking pipes.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to reset the whole system. I mean, I think there's a big danger if you nationalise the whole water industry, because it's highly expensive. But what we've done very badly is to set targets and punishments for the privatised companies. So it needs to be very clear what the country is expecting from Thames Water and all the rest. And if not delivered...
Water, basically, is what they're expecting.
Some water,
but have a long
shower.
You
also want pipes repaired, leakage stopped, sewage things stopped.
Reservoirs.
And you need to be absolutely clear, if it's not provided, the company gets hit and the shareholders take a bath. At the moment, we're protecting shareholders. We should not do that.
Shareholders have taken more out than they've put into repairs.
Yeah, the shareholders should absolutely lose their shirt on this.
OK, well, there we go. I just want to squeeze this in. It's not made any of the front pages so far, but it's a big story. The Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, is now facing a huge bill after his High Court privacy claim against the Daily Mail publisher was wholly dismissed. Associated Newspapers Limited has demanded an initial payment of £10 million towards its costs, but has applied to recover much more, pointing to the outrageous and unreasonable conduct of the 7 high-profile claimants who pursued grave allegations of phone hacking, bugging and blagging against its journalists to the bitter end, despite a lack of evidence. Now, my understanding, this is just based on a report I read earlier today, is that Prince Harry does have insurers, but it doesn't cover the full cost of it. So, you know, he's going to have to put his hand in his pocket.
Yeah, 10 million is just a start, actually. It's a good job he's got that Netflix cash rolling in, or at least it did for a while, because this is going to be a big bill. If they have to cover the full legal costs of Associated Newspapers, I think it's at least 34 million. So 10 million is just the start of this. This could be a lot
Don't forget,
bigger.
you also have Elton John, who has very, very big pockets. I mean, it's not just Harry.
Paying, though. I hope that they are paying for some of the ones like Doreen Lawrence.
I'm sure that would be the deal. I mean, nobody would expect a woman like Doreen Lawrence, who's had a murdered son and a life, you know, pretty much destroyed until she rebuilt herself because of it. So
But they're all on the hook for this, aren't they? So that I mean, they lost on every single count. This was not a grey area. It was completely black and white. Associated Newspapers took them to the cleaners on every single count. Yeah. And so someone's going to have to step in, or several people are going to have to step in and write some very fat checks.
And on that Doreen Lawrence one as well, you know, like you say, obviously it went through absolute horror with her son being brutally murdered and everything. You know, if she's had her head turned here by the likes of Prince Harry, Elton John, or some of the other people that were involved in it here, and unfortunately they didn't provide enough evidence for them to get anything, and she is now on the hook for a load of money, well, I'm sorry, but Prince Harry and co are going to have to stump up for that.
Oh, well, I'm sure they would. I'm sure there's no question.
They'd have to.
Well, it depends it depends whether there was a pre-trial agreement between the various defendants.
Did they tell you you're guaranteed to win? You're guaranteed.
But all associated newspapers need is that cheque to be written from wherever it comes. Doreen Lawrence, Elton John, Hugh Grant, Prince Harry.
I cannot imagine Doreen Lawrence would have that sort of money, and I'm sure that they would never have gone into the situation saying, well, Doreen, you're on the hook.
But usually if they cleared that up then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but
to
can you
say that we
imagine?
had an agreement with her that she would bear no costs.
Yes, I'm sure. But listen, the judgment has not yet been made.
If it comes out that, you know, Elton John didn't cover her costs, that's another absolutely disastrous headline.
Come on. There's no way. I mean,
but I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying
there's no way.
Clear now.
I just want to leave a bit of time for something, because this is an absolutely remarkable piece of footage, and I want you to try to guess, if you can, what happens next here.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, Charlie, as most of the viewers know, I would be involved in agriculture. This isn't quite agriculture. It's quite close to it, the cousins of. A lot of things that go on in agriculture are on display here. Thousands of people coming to this site, Ragley Hall, just about 45 minutes out of Birmingham.
We are the modern ruralists, and here today we have the craft yard. We've got 9 different crafts, all demonstrating what they're up to. Here we have the wheelwrights, and they're bonding a wheel here. So this is an ancient craft that's been going for about. Barney Murray's a bit of a legend, quite frankly. He's the national champion, master dry stone waller, comes from North Wales, and he's a bit of a Thor lookalike. So he's quite popular.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Now, at 16 minutes past 8, the annual bike ride from Yorkshire to London is taking place today, aiming to honour the legacy of the Batley and Spen Labour MP Joe Cox, who was murdered by a far-right terrorist in June of 2016.
Well, the bike ride aims to champion a cause she was passionate about, as this year marks the 10th anniversary of her tragic death.
Kim, if we can just start with you, what is your sister's legacy?
Well, there's so much that we've got to be proud of that's been done in Joe's name. It's just been 10 years since she was murdered, and what has kept us going as a family has been the way that so many amazing people, including people like this amazing man, have done things in Joe's name to show what our country is really about. And you've got all these amazing people today from all different backgrounds, all walks of life, celebrating the things that we have in common, not agreeing on everything.
GB News, the People's Channel. Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
It's a difficult question. Honestly, I don't think I would at this rate, because I think the government tracks, when we say we're fighting for Britain, what are we actually fighting for? The concept of Britain, I don't think exists anymore. When I look at Britain, when I go outside, it doesn't seem to be very British. And I think the core demographic of the people who would normally fight, these white working class boys who, you know, have been fighting for Britain, who we expect just to sacrifice their life in a fight, you know, they've been demonised for decades and decades by the government, by our education system, by the media. Economically, they've been disadvantaged. So why would we expect them to risk their lives when we've demonised them for so long and took them for granted for so long? And this concept of Britain fighting for the British government, you know, the British government has betrayed us.
GB News, the People's Channel.
OK, welcome back. Let me get you the rest of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. The Eye, take a shorter shower to save water in the drought, public urged. The Mirror, where are our babies? Grieving mums plea as harrowing pictures are released. This is inside that funeral home horror show, which was just absolutely unbelievably sinister. This, The Guardian. Cottrell transferred $2 million to mother days before her Reform donation. Story about George Cottrell there and Reform Party funding. The Daily Telegraph. Calls grow for England to boycott the World Cup. So there you are. Very quickly, Mark, this is your wheelhouse, this. Do you think they should be boycotting the World Cup? Why?
Not England exclusively, but if UEFA, that's all of the European countries, walked out, we could reset football, kill off FIFA. They will not run a World Cup, which is Curaçao versus Vatican City. So if England can lead the
Big
charge,
game,
but all of Europe walks, we could completely
Fantastic uniform
reset
too.
and save football. It would be brilliant. I hope we do that.
And that is because Gianni Infantino
Absolute
is
lunatic.
looking to...
Yeah. And he's looking to basically make it a money-making venture for him and his mates. That's not what football's about.
No, OK, all right. So essentially sell off the World Cup, basically. OK, I am just going to deviate away from the drought that's across all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages and tell you about this. It's a 16-year-old rookie lifeguard has been hailed an absolute hero after he rescued a 10-year-old boy from huge waves off the California coast over the weekend. In the video, the lifeguard can be seen diving in to coming waves while holding tight onto this boy who was actually going limp and was constantly, both of them were being dragged and buffeted around. Here's the clip.
Brilliant.
Yes, I should say we obviously don't have time to play the full thing, but he was in the water with that lad for like 3 or 4 minutes, being battered and going under and coming up.
So, Mark, can we use some of the 600 million quid we're giving the French to recruit him for French border force? He looks like he'd be absolutely perfect.
Fantastic. He could tow a boat back to France himself, couldn't he? But the heroic rescue has also caught the attention of President Donald Trump, who said that he would like to invite him to the White House to receive the highest civilian honour. So there you go. But I mean, that is genuinely true bravery, isn't it? You never know until you're in a situation like that how you're going to be, fight or flight.
16-year-old as well, unbelievable. Yeah.
When he could have died, it's no exaggeration.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you've ever been in anything like that, it's horrific. It's just because you're being tumbled. It's not just that you go under; you're being tumbled and buffeted.
Yeah.
It's.
No, it must have been absolutely terrifying. His life would have been flashing before his eyes, but he's gone and done it. He's saved a 10-year-old boy who will now hopefully go on and, you know, live a fantastic life ahead of him. And there's no question that boy would have died. I mean, he was literally drowning. Yeah. So, you know, well done to that 16-year-old lifeguard. Right, look, in the next hour, we are going to be talking a lot, of course, about tomorrow's newspaper front pages. The Sun are leading on the latest circus that's been going on in the English Channel. Drought. Will you be taking a shorter shower tomorrow to do your bit for public good? It'd be interesting to see whether or not some people on benefits are excluded from taking shorter showers, like we saw with the hosepipe ban. You can tell, I think you can tell, can't you, a bit about who's on benefits and not by how green their garden is at the moment. But anyway, we'll be talking about all of that and much, much more.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Heavy showers across parts of Scotland into tomorrow. Feeling less hot further south, but it will be dry for most other areas away from that rain across parts of Scotland. It's been quite a wet day for parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland through today. That band of rain is sinking southwards through this evening, but the rain will tend to fade away. It introduces more cloud, though, further south into parts of Wales, Northern England and then central areas of England later on overnight. Very little in the way of rain, but you could see the odd spot of rain here and there. Dry for a time further north than that, but then further showers push in from the north and west. We've got much fresher air further north, so it's going to be a fresher start to the day. Quite a mild night, though, a warm night, in fact, across more southeastern areas. Now, after the fresher start across the north, there will be a plethora of showers pushing in from the north and west. These bring a risk of thunderstorms as well, particularly across more northwestern areas throughout much of Thursday, so quite an unsettled day. Drier, though, further further south and eastern parts of Scotland. Northern Ireland seeing a fairly fine day, a risk of showers, but brighter than today at least. More in the way of cloud, though, for parts of Wales, central areas of England down to the southwest. It should break up as the day goes on, but there is a risk of a little bit of light rain throughout much of the day. It will just be sort of here and there. No widespread or persistent rain is expected across southern areas. And it will still feel quite warm, potentially a little bit muggy across the south and east. Temperatures in the high 20s, so cooler than today, but certainly still quite warm for the time of year, or any time of year, in fact. Throughout Friday, we'll see plenty of dry weather around. We've got high pressure dominating, but that fresher air across the country with northwesterly winds that will be quite strong in the north, bringing more showers across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland, some areas of northern England. Further south, though, another dry day, and it remains pretty dry into the weekend as well. Sunny spells and temperatures in the low to mid-20s. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, get ready for scorched earth Britain, apparently. That is literally a headline on one of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. A flash drought. I've heard of flash flooding, but we're getting a flash drought declared in half of England. We've got the driest July ever, apparently. And you are now being urged to do things like take a shorter shower for the good of the country. Well, I wonder how long that will last. Of course, your will, I mean, not the shower. We're also going to be talking about what's been going on in the Channel. The Sun have decided to lead with it. Absolute bedlam there in the English Channel. People still being brought into Britain as we speak.
We're celebrating a golden summer with a terrific two-part Great British giveaway. First, you could win a sensational £60,000 in tax-free cash. And that's not all, as you'll also win our most precious prize to date, a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At the stroke of midnight, the news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Day in, day out. Forget stuffy late night TV shows. We're giving you a front row ticket to the centre of the political universe.
Because breaking news doesn't wait for the morning.
And neither do we. Join us for one of the most controversial and volatile times of politics in human history.
A very big story.
Big story over here.
You won't get this anywhere else. The Late Show live at midnight, every night.
Only on GB News.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in,